Well, a very, very happy Friday morning to everyone, and welcome to the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, today's a big day. This is a day that I look forward to each and every year, our 11th annual holiday happy hour at the Leucadia in the north end of Leucadia. Everyone is welcome. We've been telling you for weeks now, if not months. Come on out, enjoy a fun evening. You never know who's going to walk in that front door. I got to tell you that. 2 years ago, Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers, showed up, and I had to go over to the doorman and said, "Hey, can you let this guy in?" Because we had so many people there. Buddy Black routinely attends. AJ Preller. Last year we had Rick Sutcliffe, John Carney, Marcus McNeil. You just never know who's going to show up. Aaron Harang, a former Padre pitcher, Kirk McCaskill. You just never know who's going to show up. But you know what? It's not just about the big names. It's about you people out there, people that have listened to me for years and years and years. We have a great turnout. Jay Paris started this 11 years ago, actually longer than that, but we had to take a couple of years off for COVID. So, really, it would be in its 13th year. We had to move it to a bigger venue a few years back after COVID, and it's gone absolutely unbelievable. So if you're out and about, especially if you're in North County, I would encourage rideshare, Uber. Uh, the Leucadian has pretty good parking. Well, in fact, in Leucadia, they got as good a parking as anybody, but it fills up quickly. So get there early, get there whenever you can get there. It starts at 4 o'clock and we go till, 9 o'clock, and then all the youngins come in and there's pool tables, just a lot of great sports chatter. Jay Paris, Bernie Wilson will be there. We could go on and on and on about the people that will show up tonight. Hacksaw will be there. He normally gets there fairly early. I don't know if he's going to pull out his vaudeville act tonight or not, but it's going to be a great time. So if you get an opportunity, we'd love to have you come out, even if you can stay for 45 minutes or an hour. Come by, say hello, see what it's all about. People at the Leucadian do an incredible job trying to get those drinks out. There's also food available, some Mexican food from Abraham. So if you're hungry while you're there tonight, you can certainly pick up some Mexican food. So hopefully we see you tonight at the Leucadian. If you can't make it, put it on the docket for next year because it's the first Friday in December every year. So we wish everyone a very happy holiday season. And we're going to be doing our shows up until the 19th of December. And then we're going to take off until January 5th. We're going to take a little time off. I've got a lot of things to do with college basketball. I do have a responsibility with the Holiday Bowl that I have to take care of on game day. So we're going to take a little time off, spend time with the family, get out to a few sporting events. And again, I'm doing UC San Diego basketball and then involved with the Holiday Bowl. We'll come back on January 5th. And boy, when we get back on January 5th, we're going to be getting close to spring training because spring training starts, hey, let's face it, in the middle of February. So looking forward to that. Hey, if you're tuning in for the first time, or maybe you've been tuned in, we would really appreciate it if you would just take a couple of seconds to subscribe to our program. Please like, please share, please tell a friend that the coach is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also, if you'd like to help support the channel, as I mentioned, we do have some bills, and I pretty much pay them out of my pocket. But if you'd like to subscribe, help the channel a little bit, $2.99 per month. And we'll try to get you the best sports talk out there. And as we get into closer to baseball season, we're going to be hunkering down pretty good. We're going to get some good guests on. Once AJ gets that contract extension, and I hope we can celebrate that tonight. I hope the Padres have a press conference at like 10 o'clock this morning and give AJ a contract extension. But I told AJ, once you get that contract extension, I want to get you on the show because I don't want to put him on now and say, well, AJ, when do you think you're going to get your contract extension? I'm not going to do that. He's negotiating with John Seidler, and hopefully he gets that thing done before Christmas. I was hoping it was going to be done before they hired Craig Stammen. We talked about that the other day. Hasn't happened. We're going to get guys like AJ on. and see what they have to say. And AJ's already said he's going to come on, but I'm not going to put him on until we have a contract extension. So again, please subscribe, like, share, and tell a friend. Lot to talk about today. The winter meetings start on Sunday, December 7th, and they end next Wednesday. They're down in Orlando, Florida. Padres have a lot of work to do. We know that. And I'm looking at their roster and I'm going, man, I don't know if they can get all of this done. I really don't. I mean, they've got a good bullpen. They've got to get some starting pitching. But I wanted to take a look here before we get too deep into the program. I want to get your thoughts on their positional depth chart right now. Okay, we're not going to get into the pitching. We know that they're a little light in the starting pitch. We know their bullpen is going to be lights out. And I know they're talking about making Mason Miller into a starter. Bad idea for me. That's my opinion. I mean, you got one of the best arms in baseball who's shown that he can be a top-notch closer. Let's don't mess with it. Last thing we need to do is to try to make Mason Miller into a pitcher and have him suffer a Tommy John surgery, throwing 103 miles an hour as a starting pitcher. I'd rather see him come out and throw that ninth inning. That's my own take. I don't want to mess with something that's as good as anybody in baseball, probably. And he was just lights out when he came over from the A's to the Padres. Unbelievable how good that guy was. So I don't want to mess with that. We got a good bullpen. We got a great bullpen. We got one of the best bullpens in baseball. But we are a little light in starting pitcher. We need to add an arm. There's plenty of arms out there. We're not going to go get Framber Valdez. We're not going to, get the upper echelon guys because they're not going to pay $30+ million a year. It's just not going to happen. Not with this ownership where they're at right now. And maybe an impending sale of the ball club. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get sold this year. I don't know anybody that would want to take on this ball club right now because of a possible lockout in 2027. But I want to talk about the position player. This is where we got to get a little bit better. Okay. And I'm going to take you through what we have and talk about what maybe we could be looking at price wise. We're not getting Pete Alonso at first base. Okay. It's not happening, folks. Okay. Now, right now, Padres, first base, organizational depth chart. You could put Cronenworth there along with Gavin Sheets. And maybe you sign a veteran to play second base. You also have Will Wagner, who came over from Toronto. He could play a little second base and third. It looks like they're not going to let him play shortstop. I guess they don't feel he's got the capabilities of playing shortstop. We didn't see it. But, right now, I'm going to leave first base blank. I mean, we can put Gavin Sheets there. That's our fallback, is Gavin Sheets. He could also be our designated hitter, and he could also play left field when Ramon Laureano needs a day off. But right now, we're going to leave first base unoccupied. Okay, so we'll go with Cronenworth at second, Will Wagner backing him up. Shortstop, we got Xander Bogaerts and Mason McCoy backing him up right now. Manny Machado at third. Ramon Laureano, they pick up his $6.5 million club option for 2026. In left field, Jackson Merrill backed up by Bryce Johnson, Fernando in right. Behind the plate, we got Freddie Fermin and Luis Camposano. And then reserves, and wherever you want to play him. You want to play him in left, you want to play him at first, you want to DH him, Gavin Sheets, who had a great year last year, best year in the big leagues. So when the Padres now go to the winter meetings, and who knows what AJ is going to do. AJ may have something up his sleeve that he's going to pull on us as early as Sunday, if not Monday, or sometime during the winter meetings. He has done great at the winter meetings. Now, it may not all come to fruition during the winter meetings, but he and his staff are going to lay the ground for what they think they're going to be able to get done. And they're going to talk to other teams about this guy and that guy. And it would not surprise me, folks, in the least, if Jake Cronenworth got traded. That would save them $60 million. $60 million over the next 5 years. This ownership wants to rid themselves of contracts. Now, you could say, well, you can get rid of Cronenworth. Yeah, you can get rid of Cronenworth. Then I think you could probably get rid of him if you want to. I think you might have to package with a young arm. You may not take a whole lot in return. One thing you would have to get in return, you would have to get some type of middle infield prospect. I'm not saying big league ready, but somebody fairly close, maybe a good AA second baseman or shortstop that can play second base. But if you can move Cronenworth, you got to move him, in my opinion. Okay, I think they can hang on to Fernando for at least one more year. But depending on ownership a year from now, they may have to move him. It's that simple. It's that simple. Unless you sell to an owner that's willing to pay down the road from 2029 to 2034, $36 million for a guy that now people are talking more about as a defender than they are as an offensive player. They gave him the contract because he was an offensive player his first 3 years, but he hasn't been that same offensive player the last 3 years. But I'm not going to digress on that a little bit. So that's your roster right now. You can throw in Terso Ornelas, who I believe has one more year of options, came up, didn't really do anything, but hey, it was his first time to the big leagues. Left-handed bat, went down to AAA, ended up having a pretty good year. Okay, now some possibilities at first base. And we got to start with the guys that were here. Luis Ariz, I think the longer this goes, probably the less likely Luis Ariz is coming back to San Diego. And I know there are a lot of people split on that. You know, if he came back, I would be fine because I think he's a good character guy. I think he's a good team guy. But do you want to pay, 15 to $20 million for a really good hitter who had a down year, hit 292? And that's a down year because he doesn't hit with a lot of power. You're going to have to pay that kind of money for a non-power player at a power position. So I think you probably got to, cut the umbilical cord with him, let him go. I don't know what kind of deal he's going to get. Probably looking for at least a 3-year deal, probably in the neighborhood of $60 million. I would think he probably is going to be looking for about 20 a year. You can't pay him 20 million a year. He's a great team guy. I've had people that have covered the ball club for years and years said he's the best guy they've ever dealt with. Okay, they weren't here during the Tony Gwynn era, but they said he's the best guy to deal with. Always shows up with a smile on his face, works his tail off, wants to get better, and he did get better at first base. I mean, he's a very, very, at best, average first baseman right now, but he was below average. But he got better because he comes out every day and works. And I wish him the best of luck. I hope he goes on and has a fantastic career. He's already won 3 batting titles. Who knows? He may win another one this year. He was still in the top 10 last year. It wasn't like the guy sucked. Hit 292. There was only one guy in the National League last year that qualified to hit over 300, and that was Trey Turner. He won the batting title. He's a former Padre farmhand. So that's my take on Luis Ariz. Now, the other guy is Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn would probably be the guy. And I would, to me, I would balk. He's 32, going on 33. I would balk at giving him a 3-year contract. I would give him a 2-year contract for maybe $12 million a year. So maybe 2 years, 24. Maybe that's high. Maybe it's low. Maybe there's somebody out there that's going to give him a little bit more. I don't know. But I'd play him at first base. A little power potential there. He's a big league guy. He knows how to take care of his body. He knows how to get the job done. And, he didn't hit quite as well with the Padres as he did with Baltimore. He still had a really good year. So, that might be my fallback guy. Now, there's some other guys out there you could take a look at. I mentioned we're not going to get Pete Alonso here in San Diego, but there's an interesting guy that got DFA'd by Colorado. He's a former first-round pick. He played at UCLA. He's a switch hitter, Michael Toglia. Now, if you look up Toglia, the guy's got tremendous power, but he strikes out a ton. A lot of swing and miss. Switch hitter. Plays a decent first base. Doesn't make a lot of money. In fact, he ended up last year in AAA for a while. He was with the big leagues. He was going back and forth between Colorado and Albuquerque. But they DFA'd him. They let him go. So he's out there. He's married to a girl from San Diego, I believe. So maybe they'd like to, come here, start their family. I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to say you're going to get them at a discounted rate, but he's looking for an opportunity to get back to the big leagues and stick in the big leagues. And maybe, with what the Padres are doing, maybe Steven Souza, the new hitting coach, maybe he can unlock something. Totally, got big time power, but a lot of swing and miss. A lot of swing and miss. So you got to kind of take a look at that. Ty France is out there. Ty France, a good solid ball player, plays a good first base. Of course, he came up as a third baseman. Padres had him, played for Tony Gwynn. I remember talking with Tony. I was out there Ty's freshman year, and I said to Tony, I'd never seen this guy. And this guy's worked so hard on his body. He was kind of a heavy-set kid coming out of high school and when he was at San Diego State. And I remember telling Tony after I saw him play one day, I saw him get 4 at-bats. I go, man, I don't know who that guy is, but I think that guy's going to be a good hitter. And he goes, yeah, I do too. Well, I didn't know he was going to end up in the big leagues, but Ty France has had a pretty good major league career. He's 31 years of age, knows San Diego, knows the Padre organization. I don't know, you stick him over at first base and let him get 500 at bats. What do you think on that? Probably not going to break the bank, I wouldn't think. Finished up last year with the Toronto Blue Jays. Was in Seattle. They traded him to Toronto, and he had a decent year. Had a very decent year. Um, Reese Hoskins, 33 years of age. I'd probably pass on him. Paul Goldschmidt, 38 years of age. Had a decent year with the Yankees. Not the power threat he once was with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and a few years back with the St. Louis Cardinals. He'd be a good clubhouse guy, a good solid guy. Plays a solid first base. Nathaniel Lowe was with Texas. Went to Boston. He got let go by Boston. He'd be another option. Those are just some of the first basemen I would throw out there for you. So we can kick that around a little bit. Padres did sign a pitcher yesterday. Uh, Kind of an interesting guy. And, whenever the Padres sign a guy, I always kind of look a little bit deeper. And stats don't always tell the story. They signed this kid that's 28 years of age. He'll turn 29 on February 7th, Ty Adcock. Um, Attended Elon University, was an 8th round pick in 2019 with Seattle, but he didn't pitch until like 2022. If you looked, he never actually pitched in the Seattle organization early on. He ended up going back to Seattle, but first year, uh, didn't pitch. Right shoulder impingement syndrome, 2020 COVID minor league season, the cancellation. And then in April of 2021, he had Tommy John surgery out the entire year. And then finally, in July of 2022, made his pro debut. He was drafted in 2019 and didn't pitch until 2022 in July. And then he bounced around in 2024. He got claimed off waivers by Detroit. 2024 also. A month later, he got claimed off waivers by the New York Mets. Last year, 3 appearances, 3 innings with the Mets, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. Between Seattle and the Mets, 18 games. In the big leagues, 23 innings, giving up 9 home runs, 19 punch-outs, and a 5.48 ERA. I would imagine this guy's got a good arm, though, and they think they can tweak some things and unlock some things. So, again, just another power arm the Padres bring to their organization. He'll probably sit down in AAA most of the year and then come up and help out when needed. And you never know. You get a different organization. Hey, you know what? Want to scrap that pitch? Let's try this pitch. Hey, it's trial and error with pitchers. Maybe his stride's too long. Maybe he's shortened his stride. I haven't even seen this guy pitch, but having worked with pitchers for years and years and years, there's always a way to tweak things and work on things, maybe eliminate something, add something. Maybe he's going to a windup rather than coming out of the stretch. Maybe simplify his delivery a little bit. You just never know. So you know what? I'll trust AJ, man. AJ and his staff have done a hell of a job bringing guys in here. No question about it. Okay, I want to get to something that I think everybody will have an opinion on. I love talking about Hall of Fames. And I'll never forget. Now I'll share a story. My great partner, Randy Jones, who just passed away here a few weeks ago. I remember one night back in the early 2000s, we were doing a show one night, and we were talking about Tom Glavine. And at that point in time, Tom Glavine, I don't know, he had 251 or 257 wins. And I said to Randy, I go, Glavine's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And Randy goes, no, he's not. And I go, yeah, he is. I go, he's going to get 300 wins. He goes, Coach, he goes, if they put in everybody in the Hall of Fame that you think should be in the Hall of Fame, they'll have to build a new wing to the Hall of Fame. Well, Tom Glavine ended up winning over 300 games and got in the Hall of Fame. But Randy, he was always trying to get my goat on that. I always thought Steve Garvey should be in the Hall of Fame, and I still think Garvey should be in the Hall of Fame, not only for what he did during the regular season. Look at his postseason numbers. He got some of the best postseason numbers in the history of baseball. Look at what he did in postseason play. I mean, Garvey's stats were just incredible in the postseason. But on Sunday, this is going to be fun because it'll come down about 3:30 our time on Sunday, and we can all pay attention to this. And this is really going to be interesting. You've got the Hall of Fame nominees for the Eras Committee. You got 16 members, and the players that are up, you have to get 12 votes. You have to get 12 votes. Now, here are the players that are up, and they're all, for the most part, most of them are controversial, okay? You've got Barry Bonds. Now, I think we all agree that Barry Bonds is a Hall of Fame player, not a Hall of Fame person. He's a total turd, but that doesn't matter. But he's got the steroid. Even though he was never found guilty of steroid, we know that he was a steroid guy. Okay, we know that. Nobody's head gets that big just by working out in the weight room. And now his head's a lot smaller. I mean, he was a monster. Terrible teammate, great baseball player, and just not a real nice human being. He's a lot nicer now, I think, than he was when he was a player. But even at Arizona State, the players voted to kick him off the team over there. I mean, he was a real jerk. Okay. So Barry Bonds up 298 career average, 762 home runs, the all-time record, 1,996 RBIs, 14-time All-Star, 7-time MVP. Now think about this. The all-time hits leader, Pete Rose, who's no longer with us, he will be up in 2029 on this committee. So you got the all-time hits leader, and you got the all-time home run hitter right now that are not currently in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, I don't know where you stand. If Bonds gets in, I'm okay with it. Because Bonds was a hell of a player even before he used steroids. I would be okay with it. And everybody talks about the hitters. Well, let me tell you, there were a lot of pitchers that were on it. There were just as many pitchers on performance-enhancing drugs than there were hitters. Okay? No question about it. Okay, next guy. Roger Clemens, 354 wins, 7 Cy Youngs, a 3.12 ERA, and 4,672 strikeouts. Another guy that was a turd. Good teammate, but a turd. Okay? Arrogant, pompous. I could go on and on. Carlos Delgado, hell of a player, for me, falls short. And Clemens a Hall of Famer. Clemens and Bonds should probably get in. Okay, we've kept them out long enough. I'm not a voting member, but again, there are going to be 16 people voting. You have to get 12 votes to get in. And we'll see where it goes. Bonds and Clemens are Hall of Famers, whether you like it or not. And you know what? It's not going to change my lifestyle if those two guys get in. Carlos Delgado, a very nice player, 473 homers, 15, 12 in RBIs, 280 average, but two-time All-Star. He falls short. The guy another turd, that wasn't a good guy. Okay? Not that he was going to go out and run over kids with his car, but just not a good guy to deal with. And I never had to deal with him, but I know all the stories. Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent should be in the Hall of Fame. And they'll say, well, he wasn't a good defender. Well, you know what? I can never remember Jeff Kent blowing a game defensively. Jeff Kent had a hell of a career. In fact, he hit 377 career home runs. 350 of them were as a second baseman. That's the most all time. He had a 290 career average and drove in 1,518 runs and a 5-time All-Star. I think Jeff Kent should be in. I thought he should have been in a long time ago, and I'm not a Jeff Kent fan. In fact, none of these players I was big fans of, except the last guy I'm going to get to here in a few minutes. Don Mattingly, I think Mattingly gets in. Everybody say, well, his career was cut short because of the back problems that really robbed him in the last 5 or 6 years of his power. Yeah, it did. But you know what? Mattingly, a hell of a ball player, 1,099 RBI, 6-time All-Star, 9 Gold Gloves. The Yankees retired his number 23, for crying out loud. If the Yankees can retire his number, the guy probably should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. 307 career average, 2,153 hits, 222 home runs. He was such a good defender that there were points in time where they played him at third base to guard the line in the late innings. That's how good Don Mattingly was. Great teammate, great all-around guy, stayed in baseball, been a baseball lifer, was with Toronto last year, don't know where he's going this year, decided to leave Toronto. I'm sure Don Mattingly will have a job somewhere. Don Mattingly probably ought to get in. Good guy, good teammate, did things the right way, treated people with respect. Dale Murphy, two-time MVP with the Atlanta Braves, 398 home runs, 265 career average, 1,266 RBIs. Dale Murphy, 5 Gold Gloves. I don't know. I got a tough one with that. I think Dale Murphy. I saw him actually when he was catching for Atlanta. It was a Friday night game at Petco Park, not Petco, but at Qualcomm. I saw Dale Murphy, young in his career. He was just coming up as a catcher. I saw him hit 3 home runs one night against the Padres at Qualcomm. He had big time power. If he got in, I'd be okay with it. But he's been out there for 100 years and hasn't gotten in. Another guy that I think should get in, and I know that he was implicated to a very, very small degree on the Balco. Victor Conte, who passed away up there in the Bay Area. Gary Sheffield, who won a batting title in 92 with the Padres. He had a great career, 292 average, played forever, 509 homers, 1,676 RBIs. I think Sheffield belongs in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. And the last guy I'll get to, and when you look at his record, you look at his ERA, you're probably saying, maybe not. But again, one of the things you look at when you're voting on the Hall, what kind of impact did this guy have on baseball? This guy had an incredible impact on baseball. And I mean an incredible impact. And I lived in Southern California my whole life, San Diego. And I got an opportunity to cover this guy. And what a professional, absolute professional. And he had nothing when he was with the Padres. He won 13 games and he couldn't break a pane of glass. And that's Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando Valenzuela's career record. And remember, he pitched forever. 173 and 153. Only 20 games over 500, believe it or not. 354 career ERA. Again, he pitched for a long time and didn't have a whole lot the last 3-4 years he pitched. He hurt his arm and then bounced around with the Angels and Baltimore, came to the Padres. They traded him to the Cardinals. But the impact that Fernando had on baseball and primarily the Los Angeles area with the Hispanic population, unbelievable. Unbelievable. If Fernando got in, it wouldn't be just because of what he did on the field. It'd be about the impact that he had on Major League Baseball. And I don't know, and I don't think he will get in, but that's a hard one to argue. If you grew up back in the 80s and saw the impact that Fernando had on Major League Baseball, not just the Dodgers, but on baseball in general, and in the entire Hispanic community, not only in LA, but around the United States. Fernando, man, I'll tell you what, he had an impact. The way he went about things, very cordial man, very polite man. After his career, spent the rest of the year with the Dodgers doing broadcasts. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, Bonds, Clemens, Hall of Famers, yeah, they're Hall of Famers. If we kept them out of the Hall of Fame long enough, is it time we put them in? And then down the road, they're probably going to have McGwire. I got to tell you, I don't know. Mark McGwire was a monster. Well, him and Canseco. I remember when '97 they came to San Diego. Oh my God, I felt like a little kid standing around those guys at the batting cage. I mean, they were monster size. I mean, I never seen a bigger baseball team in my life. That 1997 um, Oakland A's baseball team. They were unbelievably how big they were. But McGwire, great guy. Mark McGwire, great guy. When he was here with the Padres, had a couple of really good chats with him. And in fact, one time I started to walk away. He goes, "Hey, when are you coming back? I want to talk to you again." I go, "Hey, Mark McGwire wants to talk to me." So that was kind of cool. But anyways, we'll see. I'll be waiting. It's supposed to be announced at about 3:30 on Sunday. That'll be kind of interesting to see where it goes. Okay, as usual, we're going to get some questions. A lot to cover today. And again, we're going to be doing shows up until January or till December 19th. Then we're going to take off until January 5th. But let's get out to our live questions today on Coach's Crew. All right, Javier, coach, where do you think Robert Suarez will sign? Is he his arm healthy? Well, he's 34 years of age. Uh, I don't know. I mean, he could end up with the Dodgers. There's talk the Dodgers are interested. I think any team, Javier, that needs a bullpen guy, a guy throwing the eighth or ninth inning. I think Robert's their guy. I was reading about the Giants. The Giants, they hired Ron Washington yesterday to be their infield instructor. So now they've hired Ron Washington. They've got Bruce Bochy back. They got Dusty Baker back to advise Tony Vitello. I mean, they're building a very nice core unit around the young rookie manager and a guy that's a rookie to professional baseball. I mean, can you imagine Tony Vitello being able to just hang out in spring training while he's managing and having Bochy on one side and Dusty Baker on the other side? And by the way, Dusty and Boch are buddies. So that's going to be a lot of fun for those guys as well. But now they hire Ron Washington. So, and I send a little message to my old buddy down there at East Lake High School, Casey Schmidt, the other day. Uh, Represented Casey when I was working with John Boggs. I recruited him for Boggsy, and Casey had a little wrist surgery. Played second base, really a third baseman, but he's played short. He's played second, and hopefully he doesn't get too late a start to spring training. But a great kid, good fan, mom and dad, great people. I sent him a little message the other day and wished him to get well soon and not to push it too hard. But I think Suarez goes wherever you need a guy to throw the back end of the ball game. Hopefully, maybe he'll go to somebody outside of the National League West. That would be nice. But I've heard the Dodgers are interested, but I don't know if the Dodgers want to go that direction. I saw Miguel Rojas going to play one more year. He's going to make $5.5 million next year and then retire, and he's going to have some type of role in the front office for the Dodgers. So Miguel Rojas coming back, World Series hero Miguel Rojas. Javier, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. What is it? Hey, coach, I hear Sousa is analytically driven hitting coach. What's the difference between him and Rodriguez? I don't know. The analytics are great. Uh, I don't know. I haven't seen Steven Sousa coach yet. I don't know. I can't answer that. Analytically driven, my analytic driven is don't let a good fastball hit the catcher's glove. When you're ahead in the count, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, man, find a keyhole. And if that ball comes in that keyhole, you drive the hell out of it. I still think everybody talking about gap to gap, you got to be gap to gap hitters. I mean, we have very few guys that are launch guys. I mean, Fernando ought to be up there looking to get a ball on the inside part of the plate and drive it out of the ballpark. Same with Manny. Manny does a pretty good job of going the other way a little bit. Bogarts, I think, has gotten a little bit too pull happy. I think one of his deal, he lost a lot of power. And maybe Steven Sousa can help unlock that. But as far as Sousa, uh, I'm sure he knows what he's doing. I mean, I always enjoyed watching him play. He didn't have a great big league career. I actually followed. He had some really good years in the minor leagues. But again, like I said last week, I don't care if you hit 0-0-0 or never played professional baseball. There are a lot of great hitting coaches that never played at the big league level or the professional level that know how to teach hitting because they've been around good people. They've learned, they've trial and error. The only way you become a good hitting coach is by working with people and don't clone people. I was working with a little girl in my neighborhood. She wants to play softball, 14 years old, never played before. And I saw her throwing with her dad one day, and I said to her dad, I go, is she trying to play softball? And he goes, yeah. I go, I didn't know she played. She goes, well, she just played a little winter ball. And I go, well, tell her to come on over and bring her glove, and we'll work on some things. And we were working the other day on her hitting, left-hand hitter, and got some potential, but she's never played. And you just got to work. And every hitter is different. Every hitter is different. You can't clone guys. I was talking with Brock Undrich, the head coach of USD. He was the hitting coach at Stanford and then worked with the hitters at USD until he got the head job. And this will be his fifth year. And I said, one of the things, not when Brock was at Stanford, but when the prior regime was up there, they used to clone everybody that would go there would hit the same way. Well, you can't do that. You're doing your players and your team a disservice. Every hitter is different. They're individuals. You got to work with their strengths and their weaknesses. And we'll see where it goes. But once you step into the box, this is what I always tell players at all levels, because I still talk to professional players on a regular basis. And they'll say, well, this or that. I go, hey, look, I don't care where you're playing, whether you're playing in Mexico or Australia or the United States or Dominican or Venezuela, Puerto Rico, I don't care. The mound is 60 feet 6 inches and the plate's 17 inches wide. Figure it out. And hitters, once they step in, it's a one-on-one contest. You can't be thinking about where your hands are, where your feet are, what your stride is. You got to get in there, muscle memory, and you got to swing the bat. Look for a ball that you can drive. Find out where your strength as a hitter is. And unless you got 2 strikes, let it go. Let it go. But we'll find out where Steven Seuss is at. But Victor Rodriguez, I think, was a really solid hitting coach. Apparently, he got the job with the Houston Astros. They're a pretty good organization. They're not going to hire some Johnny come lately as their hitting coach. I guarantee you that. All right, what else we got today? All right, yeah, Steve Garvey, Javier does belong in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about it. Great regular season numbers, but look at his postseason numbers are as good as you will ever see on any player in the history of the game. For all the postseasons, the NLCS, the World Series, the divisional game, numbers were off the chart. And I know at least once he won it by himself, but I believe he shared it another time. I think he was a 2-time All-Star MVP. I remember that one All-Star game. I think 78, he hit that ball high off the wall in right center field at Qualcomm Stadium. I got to go to that game with Fred Lynn's dad, the Boston Red Sox center fielder. Mr. Lynn took me to the ball game. Boy, that was great. Boy, Freddie Lynn, he's a great guy. Maybe he's coming tonight. I don't know. He came a couple years ago. Him and his wife came a couple years ago. And hell, we had Freddie at the Leucadian, and he was getting in his batting stance and talking about hitting it. The Leucadian or holiday happy hour. How good is that? Fred Lynn, friggin' the 1975 AL MVP and Rookie of the Year, first guy to do it. Ichiro matched that when he came from Japan. That was really cool. Freddie giving out hitting tips at the holiday happy hour. But I agree with you 100%. Steve Garvey belongs in the Hall of Fame. Okay, what else we got today? Keep them rolling, folks. We got a lot to cover. Bobello, hey, John, I like your work on with 690. You were a blast with Lee, Steve, and Bill. Well, all those guys are my friends. Steve Hartman, by the way, I'm going to a luncheon up in Los Angeles in January. Steve being inducted into the Southern California Sports Broadcasters Hall of Fame, and a very well-deserved honor. Lee Hamilton should go in there as well. Billy Warndell still doing radio back in Philadelphia. I'm on his show on a fairly regular basis. Great. Those 3 guys are great guys. Bill Warndell, Hartman, Lee, Chet Forty, who passed away in 1996. Steve, Chet, and I, we used to go down every Friday and have breakfast at Perry's Cafe. I mean, those were some unbelievably fun times. And quite frankly, I worked for 3 all sports stations, and the 690 was the best. It was. I mean, I enjoyed my time at the other stations, but 690, that was a legendary station, and it will never be duplicated. Sports talk has changed so much. I don't even know how to describe it. I really don't know how to describe sports talk. And I guess now you got a lot of the organizations pretty much telling the sports talk host what to say. Doesn't work real well that way. I think you kind of lose your luster a little bit. But yeah, those 3 guys, great. And we'll see Hacksaw tonight. Hacksaw should be at the party. All right, Bobello, thank you very much. All right, we got any other questions up there? Any other questions? Okay. Now, month of December. This is a busy month. I told my wife, we got to get a couple of things on the docket here. I'm running out of days. Got so many things coming up. But one of the things that I'm going to tell you about, and you can attend tomorrow. Now, I'm going to give you a little heads up on this. This event tomorrow can make you look awful good to people that collect. And once again, tomorrow down at the Handlery, SD Collectibles, they're going to be down. It's a 1-day show. and it's only for 5 hours. And he's going to tell you all about it. But I'm going to tell you right now, you want to get a good Christmas gift for someone who's a collector that likes memorabilia, whether it's a framed picture or an autograph, a jersey, cards. Jonathan Oliveri, and I'm glad to see him back off the IL. He was battling earlier in the week. That's why we didn't have a show on Monday. He wasn't feeling good, but he bounced back pretty good the last couple of days. And Jonathan's going to be there tomorrow, and he's going to come on right now and tell us all about tomorrow's big card show and memorabilia show at the Handlery, 11 to 4. And Jonathan, first off, I want to thank you because I know for you to miss the show on Monday, I knew you were not feeling well. I know
Yeah.
even on Wednesday you sucked it up because you didn't want to let me down. I appreciate that, and I'm
Mhm.
glad you're up and about and planning on being at the get together tonight. The fans that come
Yeah.
out tonight will be able to meet you as well. But tell me a little bit about tomorrow. You guys have had an incredible 2025. SD Collectibles has been, I mean, just unbelievable year for you guys.
Yeah, it's been a crazy busy year, and this is it. This is the closeout for the year, December 6th, tomorrow. Like you mentioned, the Handlery Hotel in Mission Valley, 11 to 4. Entrance is $3 for the entry fee, but you get a pack of cards, and then they do raffles every hour, so you can always win prizes. But yeah, it's awesome. There's sports cards, there's Pokemon, there's a little bit of everything. So it'd be a great time for anybody who wants to come out and get that sports fan in their life. Christmas gift early and get that checked off their list and get it done.
Oh,
Come out
I
tomorrow.
I always like for you to tell the folks what you're into because you kind of specialize. You got your own
Yeah.
little kind of a business within a business, and
Mm.
tell the fans about all your Charger memorabilia.
Yeah, so mine is sdsportsmem.com. And I specialize in like San Diego sports history. So Chargers all the way back to AFL, Padres, Pacific Coast League stuff. Like I like the older the better. So that's kind of what I'm into. And on my website, I highlight like different pieces of memorabilia and just sort of the story that each piece tells, whether it's about a specific player, game, or moment right there. So yeah, that's really what I'm into, the history of it. Chargers are obviously gone, but I enjoy the players that I watched, Rivers, LT, Gates, and then the players before them that I've heard about and enjoy watching highlights of.
All right, now for more information on your website, give that out again, and then of course for the card show, they can just go to sdcollectibles.com.
Yeah, yep. So mine is sdsportsmem, MEM, like memorabilia.com. And on there you'll see all different posts on there from AFL Chargers to 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then older Padre stuff too. And then for the show tomorrow, sdcollectibles.com. That's where they can go on and see all the information, the address, exact address and time and all that for tomorrow.
Hey, Jonathan, just before you go,
Mhm.
because I know parking is like a big issue in this town now.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're not going to charge people the money they're going to start charging them here shortly at the
Oh,
zoo and
yeah.
Balboa Park. But this is one of the best deals in San Diego right now. Tell them about the parking at the Handlery.
Yeah. So how it is the first few hundred people get free parking validation. And then after that, it's only $2 and you can be there all day. I mean, the show's 5 hours, but you could come and be there for 5 hours and you just pay $2. But if you're there for 5 hours, that means you were there in the beginning and you were one of the first few hundred through the door. So you got your free parking. So
Yeah, you get that free part. You're on scholarship. I like that.
exactly. Yeah. Then you're playing with free money at that point. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, Jonathan, continued success on that. I know you
Appreciate it.
guys have had a big year. When's your first show in 2026? We got one coming up in January?
Yeah. It's probably, I have my calendar here. I believe it's January 10th.
Okay.
The 3rd or the 10th. But yeah, yep. And we'll get on here and talk about it again when that's coming up. But yeah, very early in January.
Sounds great. Well, hey, I'll see you tonight. And again, I'm glad you're
Absolutely.
feeling a heck of a lot better.
Oh yeah, me too. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
There you go, Jonathan Oliveri. Always like to have him on. These card shows are, I'm going to tell you what, you know, as I wind down my career, and we're going to do the podcast, and I'm going to do basketball, and I'll do the strike force, and hopefully I'm going to be doing the Big West Baseball Championships. But I love to prepare. That's my whole. I love to prepare. But I've got like over 52,000 baseball cards, and a lot of them, my youngest daughter and her husband, many years ago, they kind of put them in order for me. But I'm always looking to have a hobby. I'm not a golfer. I always tell people, they ask me, do you golf? I go, well, I'm really good through the wagon wheel and the clown's mouth. I'm not a big golfer. I hit a lot of ground balls to shortstop when I golf. Pretty good putting. You get me to the green, I'm pretty good. I've always been a good putter ever since I was a little kid. But trying to get there, I need a road map and an apple and a compass. But at the end of the day, I'm always looking forward to doing something. It always has to be sports related. And man, you go to one of these collectible shows that they put on for SD Collectibles, and I'll tell you what, it gets your blood moving. Really pretty special, and it's amazing. A lot of these people, and I know this is a 1 day event, but when I went to it, it was a 2 day event. And I just went the 1 day, but the amount of effort and work that goes into this is unbelievable. But the things that are there, and people come from all over the country to these SD collectibles event whether it be at the Handler or at Liberty Station. It's amazing. People travel a lot of miles to put their wares out here for you people. So you never know. It's kind of like our party tonight. You never know who's going to walk in the door. Kind of the same thing with the SD collectibles. You never know who's going to show up and what vendors are going to be there. It's amazing. It really is. All right, before we get out of here, let's get to today's coach's mailbag. Austin Prather. Well, I'm glad to see Austin's out and about today. I think AJ deserves a contract extension, coach. He has done a great job. Well, he certainly has. And I'm not going to backtrack from 2015 to 2019. I want to look at the last 6 years. They got to the playoffs 4 times in 6 years. That's pretty damn good. I don't care what ball club, aside from the Dodgers, that's pretty damn good. Them and the Phillies. They've been in the playoffs a lot. Houston's been in the playoffs a lot. But you know what? Padres are right there. Padres, 4 out of 6 years. I'll take that. Give the man his extension. Make it a happy Christmas for AJ Preller. Austin, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. User 4547. Do you think the new ownership will wait to make a GM move? I think it really depends on who buys the ball club. uh, I I don't know. I mean, you know what? I think anytime you bring in new ownership, you're going to eventually want to bring in your own people. But you know what? If you've never been in baseball before, who are your own people? You win with good people and honest people. And I think right now it's kind of a turnkey. As long as you're winning, people are going to show up at the ballpark. I'm amazed by the amount of money it costs to go to the ballpark every night. I can't believe America's finest city keeps showing up every night. When you're selling out over 43,000 on Monday and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, pretty amazing. But I think in ownership, you got to take a look at everything. We'll wait and see. I don't know. I've heard Joel Lacob. I don't know exactly how you say his name. The owner of the Golden State Warriors may be interested. Apparently, he'd been kind of knocking on the door of the Giants, but they're not for sale right now. So I don't know. Maybe he'd come down the coast. Maybe he'd make an offer. I think he's worth over 2.6 billion, but he'd probably take on some investors. We'll see on that, but I don't know. You're going to hear a lot of it. We've heard Ballmer, we've heard, Bezos. Those guys don't appear to be interested right now. Joe Tsai, he's other than the Seals in the Brooklyn Nets, he hasn't shown any interest in San Diego. It doesn't seem like in building an arena. Where's the Midway Rising project? Where's that? Where's Stan Kroenke? Are we going to get that done? I don't know, but we'll see. I think anytime ownership comes in, there are going to be changes. But you also don't want to make change just to change. You want to change for the better, in my opinion. What else we got today? Mike, what do you think of San Diego State basketball this year? I'll tell you what, I watched the game the other night. They're a tough watch. They're not playing real good basketball right now. They're starting five the other night, had 18 points. Guas not very good. He's not ready to play right now. Hopefully by January, but I don't know if he's kind of battling. Sometimes when you come off a knee injury, uh, you battle mentally and you're afraid to really explode. He had that one really good game against Troy, but he had not played well. Miles Bird, for me, is probably a little overrated. He didn't score the other night. They said he had he was sick. He played 20 minutes the other night. You know what? Sometimes when you're sick, you play your best games ever. Obviously, it didn't work out for him. He didn't score. Miles Heide didn't score. He left after about 5.5 minutes with a hip contusion. Reese Waters didn't have a great game. Their bench was fantastic. B.J. Davis, who'd been a starter, came off the bench, 18 points. I thought he did a good job. That freshman, was it Tay Simmons? He had a hell of a game. He did a great job scoring, rebounding. They're a tough watch right now. They're not playing well. They're not playing well at all, and they play in spurts. But really, at both ends of the court, I don't think they're very good right now, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. They're going to have to get a whole lot better here very, very quickly. But Dutcher, Coach Dutcher, he got his work cut out for him. You could tell he was very upset there. He wasn't happy with that ball club the other night. And Utah Valley came in, made a game of it. Made a game of it. USD had their first loss of the year against Nevada. They're pretty good though. They lost by 6, 76-70. They open up Big West play tomorrow afternoon up at or tomorrow night up at Long Beach State. Chris Acker, the former Aztec assistant in his second year there with the Beach, and USD, not a real good team. USD actually got beat by Long Beach State last weekend. So there you have it. That's my take on the Aztec. Been a tough watch for me. I haven't really enjoyed watching them play so far this year. All right, reminder tonight, Leucadia, north end of Leucadia, party starts at 4 o'clock. Hopefully you can stop by, slap a high five or two, talk to a few people, make some new friends. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. Would appreciate it if you would subscribe, like, and share, and tell a friend. And if you can afford it, would appreciate it if you could help out the channel a little bit. $2.99 our Gold Glove package. And again, hope to see you tonight. We'll be back in on Monday morning at 9 a.m. And who knows, maybe AJ will pull off a deal between Sunday and 9 a.m. Monday morning. We'll have a lot to talk about. It's going to be a fun group of shows next week. A lot to talk about baseball-wise regarding our San Diego Padres. Until then, Coach John Kentera, have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.